Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little intro. Clicked on this video, you know what this is about. I recently shot a music video for a local artist. To be honest, it's been a while since I've shot anything like that. I haven't shot music videos or more professional productions in a while since college. I was a little rusty. So I kind of glanced around to kind of get some ideas of what sort of tips and recommendations that I would really give to people on how to prepare for a music video. I couldn't find any ones that might relate to beginners, so I thought that I'd share my opinion on what it was like to, I guess, start shooting music videos anew again. These are kind of my tips, but before I forget, let me show you okay, what I was actually shooting on. So this is actually my handy dandy Nikon Z film gear setup. But most of the music video, if not all the music video that will make it to the final cut, is actually shot on this guy. So it's essentially a rigged out, geared out, decked out Nikon Z9. And essentially I just got an Atomos, an extra mic on here, and a lot of other little accessories on here. But that's not what this video is about. What this is about is actually how to shoot a music video, my recommendations for anyone wanting to shoot one. Without further ado, let's start with the first point. So one of the more important things that we didn't prepare the best for was actually scout out the locations early, have the permissions you need to actually film there. So as an example, we filmed at 4 locations. We got permission from 3 of them, and the other one we weren't so sure, and we didn't want to necessarily get kicked out during the filming process, so we kind of hope for the best, which is not necessarily the best approach. So I highly recommend people, if you're going to be shooting a music video, scout out the location, scout out the best light of day for the location. I'm just happy that during the shoot, the whole shoot of the day, we didn't have any issues and we got most of it done in one day. So that was really good. Tip 2 is kind of related to preparing up front for the music video. And what I mean by that is have the right gear. And not only have the right gear with you, but have a little bit of extra gear because you're not sure what you're gonna need. As an example, I mostly shot the video on 24-70 because it's image stabilized, and with the IBIS that the Nikon Z9 has, it's really, really good. With that, I did realize we were doing a bit of the night shoot in the music video, and unfortunately, we did, I did have primes with me, which I didn't expect to use. And so I'm really grateful that I had extra prime. I ended up using a little bit of a light for the music video, as well as other sort of like necessary little accessories that I didn't expect to have while I was shooting the music. With that being said, you know, bring extra batteries, bring a filter during the day, bring a neutral density polarizer if you need one. And of course, if you have the ability, I would bring an extra camera. That's the one thing I wish I would have brought with this, shooting this music video, was an extra camera. But thankfully, with the Z9, I had extra battery, and with a beast of a camera, I didn't need much of anything else. So I kind of wish I would have shot in some behind the scenes, even with my phone, but since I was doing most of the shoot alone, didn't have time for that. Artist or a group or band that you're really filming, that's really to make sure that you're in sync with the artists themselves. So thankfully synced up with the artist, and we kind of wrote out a basic idea of a story beforehand, what they wanted, kind of their vision, spots and locations, and kind of the story really that they wanted to tell. Open to allowing me to help her interpret what she wanted to film, but it was also helpful that we kind of mixed well into the vision of the music video that she was trying to shoot. So I've worked with other talent that unfortunately is difficult to work with. When they're very strong-headed and strong-minded, it makes it more difficult for your job, as you know. That's a really great tip I would recommend. This next tip is kind of related to things I've learned as I've shot more commercials and videos, but it still pertains to this. And I would say is, no matter how much you plan ahead of time, you're unfortunately going to have to be very flexible with what you're doing, and try to be flexible with when things won't go as planned. We didn't show up at the best time of day for certain locations to shoot. We shot in the morning when the light was not the best, and it was essentially after golden hour, and I kind of wanted to shoot right at sunrise and to get a nice, I guess you could say, sunlight glow for the morning shots, but unfortunately we weren't able to do that. So I just kind of wung it from there. And a lot of the gear that I brought was very accommodable for what we were doing. And it did get a little warm. For those who don't know, I live in the desert, so it was getting very warm very quickly. Yeah, thankfully we were able to mitigate that. We were able to, problem solve it and kind of just go with the flow really from there. But yeah, anytime I've seen where, let's say, extra crew members, the talent shows up late, or you can't film last minute on location, or the timing's just not right, or even the weather really. So I would say just prepare up front for the flexibility and necessity to change and alter course in the middle of filming. So it just is what it is. And then I would say for the next tip is make sure you, as a filmmaker, content creator, if you're going to be shooting a music video, make sure that you have your own artistic interpretation that you want to add into it, right? So in most cases, if they're going to be hiring you for a music video in production, make sure that you're allowed to essentially have a bit of freedom yourself. For my case, I am more of a storyteller, cinematic producer versus more of a creative, I suppose. When I'm kind of set in my way for certain things, I'm a little headstrong that way, where I like to make sure that I get my shots that I want for the music video as well as what the talent wants, and kind of find a way to blend and merge the story. I'm very particular on how I color grade things, and that's something I've been really getting into. So as a photographer, the color grading for me as well as the story are the two biggest parts that is the funnest for me, I would say. The directing of the story itself is actually what I enjoy the most about a music video. I would say make sure up front that the talent knows that you're gonna add your spin on it, and you're gonna add certain elements of your own creative process into the music video. And this is kind of the last tip I would suggest anyone wanting to shoot music videos or really make music productions, is make sure that you have the best gear possible, or film with the best gear you could afford. Thankfully, well, I've had my Z9 for about a month now, and I've been playing around with it, so I felt comfortable wanting to shoot with it. Some people may not have a Z9. Some people may not have an RE Alexa that they want to shoot with, or let's say A7S III, right? Something that might be out of their budget, so to say. So I would say if you can't afford to shoot with really good gear, don't be afraid to rent it out. Renting out the gear instead of buying the best gear is probably the better option, because the quality difference, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. The thing is, the quality difference, especially when you want to have that flexibility, such as myself, and shooting in RAW, really makes a difference, and it adds that extra oomph, I suppose, that extra special factor that a lot of people won't necessarily have when they themselves are actually trying to film. So I would say if you can't afford the very expensive gear, rent it out. But if you can't afford renting either, just shoot with the best camera you have at your disposal. If you want to shoot a music video, maybe all you have is a GH5, or you only have a Nikon Z6, or a Canon R6 or whatever. The idea is shoot the best video you can with what you have. Thankfully, a lot of cameras nowadays are really good, but if you could afford that extra to budget, so to speak, to actually rent out really good gear and hopefully help as well, because it really will make a difference when you're trying to get more professional work out there for yourself, and hopefully something that's going to be viewed by many people. Those are kind of my tips really that I would suggest when you're going to be shooting a music video. I'll kind of leave some links once the video is done and finished, and I'll also link to the artist I worked with. Known her for a couple years. She's really great. Unfortunately I can't link the song. I can't have the song in my video, but I'll link to her song and you guys could check it out. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm still going to be testing this Nikon Z9 a little bit more, and then hopefully I'll kind of give you my my idea and perks, tips, and thoughts really about shooting with Nikon RAW, Nikon N-Log, and just kind of the overall capabilities of what this camera has to offer for a lot of more Nikon driven content creators. So anyway, that video is coming out. I kind of want to have a few months out with it before I finally give my thoughts on that. But until next time, hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.